There it is. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our final Connect Through in 3 community conversation of the year. We are very excited to have you all here with us and to really just kind of celebrate everything that has been accomplished throughout the year with all of your help and input and all of your great ideas. This is really an opportunity to shout out the community, everyone who lives, works, or learns in Detroit, who has participated in everything that Connect Through in 3 has done over the course of the year, whether that is Digital Inclusion Week and all of the fantastic programming that happened during that week, whether that is the Rocket Mortgage Challenge or Rocket Mortgage Classic, the golf tournament where we had so many volunteers come out and help support there. Whether that's, all of our newly launched neighborhood tech hubs and, our ongoing community ambassadors, shout out to our host sites who are joining us here today. Just really so much has gone on over 2022, and we really want to just take a minute to tell everybody how much we appreciate all of their time, all of their effort, all of their great ideas. This is really just, a celebratory moment. So we're going to have plenty of opportunities during today's call to really hear a little bit more of your input. We want to continue to make these community conversations like a little bit more conversational and a little bit less me talking for an unbroken hour. And we also want to really continue to highlight all of the great work that's happening just out in the community. So we have a fantastic member spotlight here today. They're actually one of the organizations that presented at Digital Inclusion Week. And we just think they're doing an amazing job out there. So we really want to highlight the great work that Jefferson East Inc. is doing. We have just some kind of general updates, kind of sharing out a little bit about, our annual review, everything that we have already heard from folks. We'll have an opportunity for some discussion and feedback there. Just sharing a little bit about, some upcoming updates. And then most importantly, we are launching our election. So we'll have a few minutes for folks to do some very quick intros. So you can get a sense of who all the candidates are for our committee leadership positions today. And then we will go ahead and close out. I'm always just checking in the chat as well, just making sure that we're addressing any questions that folks might have throughout the meeting. So, as we always do, we always give our little explanation that Connect Through in 3 is a citywide data-driven digital inclusion strategy. It's a collaborative of a bunch of different organizations. Some of the founders are represented here, but there are tons of organizations and individuals who have worked so hard to really make this dream a reality. And we always want to ground this in our values. We are centered around trust. We move together at the speed of trust. We're centered around adaptability and innovation. We're centered around equity. We really want to make sure that we have built a community, data-driven, informed, collaborative that everyone feels like their voice matters within Connect Through in 3. Speaking of your voice mattering, we want to introduce our member spotlight today. We have a representative from Jefferson East Inc. here to talk about their community tech workers program. I believe they're on the call here, so I will let them introduce themselves and take it away.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lutalo Sanifu. You feel free to call me Lou. I am from Jefferson East. I am our Director of Neighborhood Resilience, Safety, and Business District Services. And the program I want to talk about today is our Community Tech Worker Program, which is a wonderful program that we share with the Detroit Neighborhood Entrepreneurs Program. This is a great program. We call it Community Tech Workers. I'm not in control of the slides, so I'm just going to say slide. So who are we? We are a joint effort between Jefferson East Inc. and the University of Michigan, a mixture of college students and people from the community. It's a really great breakdown. We actually got university students and people from the Jefferson Chalmers neighborhood, and we train them all. We train them all how to use different forms of technology so that they could help small businesses in our corridor. We got grant funding from the Marian Kaufman Foundation, who wanted to see our minority-owned businesses and our women-owned businesses on the east side of Detroit get some additional support, particularly since COVID happened. A lot of businesses ran into a lot of problems because they didn't have access to the technology, which made it difficult for them. So this is a chance to kind of level the playing field for them. The one thing that all of our tech workers have in common is they have a shared interest in helping the community. Slide. So here are actual tech workers. Casey Stonebeck, Danielle Taylor Basemore, and Lily Israel are actually students from the University of Michigan. Diamond Hatcher and Edwin Taylor are community members from Jefferson Chalmers. If you get any of these people, you have a certifiable, sure enough expert in what they do. They've helped people from everything from phone systems to websites to search engine optimization to everything. So they're all just amazing young people. And I was really impressed with each and every one of them from this point, and we'll be going forward. Slide. So what do? We provide free one-on-one tech support training for Detroit small businesses. Some of those involve going to the business site itself, working with the business owner at their location with their technology. Some of those are people coming to us and having a one-on-one session at our Jefferson Chalmers location. And then some of those, we're at the point now where we can remote into your computer. So even if you're on the west side, even if you're in Southwest and you need this kind of help, we're at the place now where we can remote into your computer and work with you. Next slide. So here's some examples of the type of work that they've been doing: brand development, cybersecurity, domain acquisition, email services, graphic design, online scheduling, point of sale systems, search engine optimization, social media, website, phones. I could run the list for you. If you own a salon and you need to set it up so that people can make an appointment on your website instead of calling you and stopping you from working on the clients that you have in front of you, they can help. If you are a restaurant and you need somewhere where people can call or somewhere where people can go on your website and push a button to make a reservation, they can help you. If it's technology related, they can probably help you. Just to give you an idea, the average client, and we don't limit clients by how much time or how many services they can receive. If you still need help, we will help you. The average client is getting more than 5 hours of face-to-face time with a community tech worker. That we're not limiting it to 5 hours. It just happens that that's what it's been so far. We've helped over 50 businesses on more than 500 hours of different types of tools. Slide. So here's an example of what it looks like. You submit a request to us, which is basically saying, hey, I'm interested in this kind of help. From there, we schedule an intake meeting and we clarify what your priorities are, what you need. From there, there's another consultation where they actually walk you through it. Now, I'm going to tell you, our tech workers don't fix it for you. We're not the help desk. What we are trainers. So we figure out how to fix the problem that you have, and then we show you the back door so that you'll be able to do it yourself. Because oftentimes as a business owner, it's 3 a.m. when you notice the problem. And you don't want to call tech support. You want to be able to dive in there and do it yourself. So that's what this is. Once we give you the support and help set up all the things that you need, Then we'll do a wrap-up session, make sure if there's anything else that needs to be done, that it's done. If for some reason you found out there's some more stuff you want, you just jump back and schedule another meeting and walk you through that next thing. That's basically how we operate. Next slide. We're located at the JEI Resource Hub, which is at 14300 East Jefferson at Lakewood. And if you wanted to set up an appointment, you could call at 313-887-1775 or email community-tech-workers@jeffersoneast.org and we'll set you up. It's real easy. And I'll put both of those in the chat for everyone if you need them. The last slide I just want you to see, this is a tool that we use to help businesses, even if it's not us helping, you just want to try yourself. We work with the New Economy Initiative, which is how we met our U of M partners in the first place. This is a do-it-yourself digital resource guide that we have helped put together so that if you are a business owner and you feel like, I know technology pretty good, I can figure it out if I have a manual. So there's a manual and you can work it that way. And anything that you feel unsure about, just call us or email us and we'll set up an appointment. I'm going to leave the floor open for questions now. I hope that wasn't over 10 minutes because I want to get as many questions as I can.
That was perfect. So if folks have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or to raise your hand. You can come off mute and ask it out loud. Just wanted to shout out that there were, a couple of very positive comments in the chat of folks saying this is great, that they really want to replicate this service in their own area. That we're looking to share this out more. Absolutely, we can add this resource guide to the website and really broadcast this further because this is such a great resource. I think this actually might already be on our website. I will double check. But yes, excellent work. A question from the chat. Do businesses have to be in Jefferson East area or can they be anywhere?
Great question. So when we started in our geography, right? We wanted to make sure we could get to businesses where they were. It's evolved. So now the business could be anywhere in Detroit. We've limited ourselves to just Detroit. Mm-hmm. If you schedule an appointment with us and you are on the far northwest side, no problem. We can do a remote session with you. We have the technology where we can send you the link. You can open up a link and then we can remote into your computer and work with you directly. Oh, nice. So if it's at this point, we can help anybody in the city.
Awesome. Yeah, a lot of compliments for you in the chat. So I definitely recommend that you take a look there because everyone is
I see Jen Jamber there. I have to shout her out from Human IT. We actually worked with them a little bit trying to get computers into the hands of folks who needed them, business owners and residents who were not able to afford the computers that they desperately needed. Big shout out to Human IT for that collaboration. Love those guys over there. And if I have a chance to shout out one more thing, Shop Small Detroit. On the Detroit Means Business website and on the JEI website, there is a place where you can go and click on Shop Small. If you click on that, there is a resource where businesses can get on a map that helps them to get more foot traffic. It's absolutely free. All of these services that we've mentioned, absolutely free. And it gives you a chance to get more feet in the door. And then also at our 14300 location, we're going to have a Shop Small event on the 16th, where we're using Detroit-based businesses in the neighborhood and those who are some businesses that are kind of online businesses right now, but looking for a space, we're going to have a Shop Small event next Friday at that 14300. We're not charging businesses to participate either. So if you know a vendor that's interested, we've still got a couple slots left.
Okay, awesome. I see a couple more questions here. One, are there any plans to kind of expand, add any more tech workers, or are you kind of like you're at where you're at capacity?
We actually have a job posting out right now. We're
Okay.
looking for another tech worker. Just the one, I guess I can put that in the chat as well. I'll
Yes,
just
I
have
love
to pull
that.
it up. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, anything that you can promote, now is the time. You got a job posting, you got an event coming up,
I do. I have a job posting.
Absolutely.
Absolutely
Wanna
do.
shout that out. Yeah, we can include all of this also in the follow-up email. So if folks don't have a chance to kind of grab these things as they come up, we will make sure to include, all of these links and everything in that follow-up email. I see another question. Do you have any social media so that people can promote any of these things or connect to you?
We do. So if you're interested in anything that we're doing, always go to Jefferson East Inc. We're
Okay.
it's Jefferson East Inc. on Facebook. It's Jefferson East Inc. on Instagram, on Twitter, on Nextdoor, on everything. We're on
Awesome.
everything. You'll be able to see the work that we do from the business side, but you'll also be able to see the work that our housing team does, things that we do for public safety, neighborhood resilience, all of that's going to be there. And if you just want to go to the place that houses all of the information, you could just go to jeffersoneastinc.org
Awesome. Awesome.
or jeffersoneast.org. I'm so sorry. I threw that ink in there because I'm so used to saying it.
No. No worries. Okay, awesome. Well, we will make sure to include all of these resources in that follow-up email and really, continue to look for opportunities to publicize the great work that you're doing and shout out you guys as a partner because we're really excited to see, all of these great programs that are happening out there in the ecosystem that folks might just not be aware of. So if anybody else has any other questions, again, please feel free to throw those in the chat because I can always, connect offline or, make a connection if you guys are looking to follow up with any more detailed questions. But thank you so much for your presentation. This was really great. And if we might have you back again for next Digital Inclusion Week to do this again, because we're just so pumped about it.
Please, I look forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And with that, we're going to jump into just a few kind of high-level updates, including the FCC has released new broadband maps. So this is kind of an exciting opportunity because there is an action that we can take here. They are using this map to determine the allocation of federal funding to provide broadband to underserved communities. And so we know that there are some discrepancies in what the broadband map currently has. So we're really asking everyone in the community to search for your house, search for your workplace, search for your school, search for any locations that and confirm if the information that they have is correct. Because there may be areas that they say, have high-speed internet that don't. And there may be areas that they're saying, oh, there's no connection here at all, and there is. So we really want to make sure that this data is as accurate as possible, because that's going to affect how much money there is available to be able to improve and build out on that broadband. In areas where there is not that connection. So we really want to make sure that we get as much engagement around this as possible to make sure that folks are, sharing that information. So again, this was in our newsletter. We'll also share this out in the email afterwards, but it's broadbandmap.gov. So you can just go on there and, search for whatever locations you're aware of. with that, I'm going to hand this over to my partner, Dr. Naima Wade, to talk a little bit about all the exciting things happening with the Tech Hubs.
Thank you, Jordan, and thank you, Lou, for the amazing presentation. I am so excited to just lift up to you all and bring to your awareness that our Neighborhood Tech Hub program is in full swing. We have 22 Tech Hubs activated at this time that will be hosting a series of launch activities and events starting in January. And because of this, we are so very proud of the ability to expand computer and internet access in a variety of neighborhoods in every district around the city, to create opportunities for people to learn about new technologies and to help our Detroit residents find the resources that they need to connect to future opportunities. And so really what we want you to know is that all of our Tech Hubs, we have had a launch meeting. They've received a lot of new, cool Connect 313 not marketing materials, but materials that they can use to sort of like decorate their spaces and make sure that the Connect 313 brand is very visible and present in those spaces. And as you can see in some of the pictures here, this is our partners picking up some of those materials. And so our challenge to you as community members on this call is to, one, use this link, and maybe David, whoever has the slides, can you guys put the link in the chat for me? This connect313.org neighborhood tech hub link is going to show you where all the hubs are located in and around the city. And then this QR code here will help you to find those locations and figure out their hours and things like that. And what we need from you is to, one, do a little bit of a scavenger hunt, right? Some of our Tech Hubs have already launched, not all of them. The start date for everyone is actually January 1st. But if you are in a community where a hub is already active, we would love to know that, right? So if you're walking by, taking a walk, take a selfie, send it to us, tag us in it. We love to know that you're there and checking out that hub. And number two, if there are people in your community, your family, on your block, in your neighborhood that need to know that this access is available to them starting at the top of the new year, we're asking you to just kindly spread the word. The purpose of making the kind of investment that we've made as a collective into the Neighborhood Tech Hub program is to enhance access, right? Is to help us to be and to live our mission, which is to close the digital divide. And so the Tech Hubs are not a complete answer to that right now, but they are definitely a start. And so we ask you to please spread the word, because we want to show and make a case for the fact that this model does work. It does work, and it does help to connect our residents to the opportunities that they so richly deserve. So thank you for your attention. If you have any questions about that, I'll put my email in the chat. If you have any questions about the Tech Hub program specifically, or if you're a partner that just needs to know more, happy to answer those questions.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Naima.
Yep.
Yeah, and with that, always, if anybody has any questions, feel free to use the raise your hand function or drop them in the chat. We are always kind of accepting questions and happy to make those connections as well. So we're going to transition into just a very quick kind of overview of the annual review. So this is the end of year survey that we do each year to really understand, what has been working, where there's an opportunity for growth, and we saw a big upswing in the number of folks participating in that. And we are all very appreciative because we use this data for our goal setting every year. So we wanted to share that, we got a lot of really great community feedback. We will have more opportunity now during today's call to get additional feedback, and we will be doing some goal setting exercises and then sharing out those goals at the top of the year so that everybody kind of has that same shared vision and shared understanding of where we're going. So just as a review, what we were working on this year were the goals that were identified from last year's annual review. We were really looking at how we could increase some of those touch points with community members and really build awareness, help people self-advocate for the resources that they needed. We were looking to collect and share stories and really build awareness kind of at that policy level. And you'll see that if you've checked checked out our website at connect33.org, we have a blog there where we've been sharing out beautiful, just really well-written stories, thanks to our partner at Robin Schwartz PR, who's been doing a lot of that writing and gathering for us. And we've been looking to identify gaps and use targeted interventions to kind of build the ecosystem. Thus, the Neighborhood Tech Hub network expansion. We've been looking to achieve operational efficiency. So we've been really upgrading a lot of our policies and processes to make things run a little bit more smoothly. So we've made a lot of changes this year, and we're really excited to see how that's going to have an impact next year. And, we've been hearing a lot from you. So we've been just, looking for ways to kind of increase that member engagement. So that was one that I just kind of threw on there based on this year's annual review of new ways to engage with folks, having more volunteer opportunities, more focus groups and opportunities to hear from folks. Just as a quick overview, last year, things were, looking pretty good in terms of some of these key categories that we were collecting data around. And we see a pretty clear and consistent improvement across those categories of communication across Connect 313, communication, from your management leads, if you're sitting on a committee, access to resources, knowing where to go to find the information that you're looking for, and knowing who in the ecosystem is offering what kinds of programs. This year we really made a big push to make sure that we had at least one spotlight organization in every single community conversation. And that is a promise that we are making for next year as well. And then just overall success, we definitely saw an improvement in how people have perceived Connect 313 as a whole. Just to make sure that everybody here really feels like their voice has been heard and valued, we wanted to share just a little bit about what we've been hearing from, just everyday general members of Connect 313. We've definitely heard some real positives. There's great collaboration among leaders, that, the folks that they've engaged with have been really friendly, been really helpful, and they feel like they really belong to something, which is really exciting. But we've also heard that members are still kind of struggling to understand, what are the ideas that they should submit as suggestions? What kind of ideas are we looking for? And then once an idea is given to Connect 313, how do you know what decisions are being made? What's the rubric of judging those decisions? And how do you advocate for some kind of support for a specific area, even if you don't have an idea about the particular solution that you would want to see? So we've definitely heard that folks are looking for more in-person meetings and more just kind of general awareness building, more campaigning in 2023. That's something we're definitely excited to do, especially with our community ambassadors and our neighborhood tech hubs. We have much more of a footprint throughout the city. So that's really exciting for us. And with that, I'd like to pause and really hear from y'all. I'd love to hear from 3 to 5 people, if you could raise your hand, if you have any other feedback. Was there anything that really stood out to you this year? Was there anything that you're surprised about in the results of the annual review? Is there anything that your organization has been doing that you think would really be helpful or would really contribute to what we're doing here? And is there anything that you really liked or think that could be improved on for next year? So I'm going to start calling on people who are raising their hands. I see, I don't know your name, but sister's reaching out.
Hi, Jordan, it's Jenny Hutchinson. I don't have I don't necessarily have a feedback in regards to the network. We just signed up as an organization, I think in September. So we're really new to the block, but I wanted to see if I can get some update information from you. I am in the 48235 area code over here in Winship, College Park, Mary Grove, us over here. I noticed the other day that there were trucks that were installing fiber throughout the community. Wondering if you guys know who's heading that up and can give us some information on, they're currently in 48235, but if you may have a map or some sort of information of where they're going to be going or where they've already been installing fiber throughout the community.
Oh, that's a fantastic question. And I know that we at least had a representative from the city who has, yes, Autumn Evans, our operations director, who has really been kind of spearheading the city-led, at least, fiber.
I'm here, Jordan. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I can absolutely dig into who that may be. I will say that a lot of times there's not a lot of coordination from private businesses around, what they plan to do as far as, installing fiber. They don't really have to communicate with at least the Digital Inclusion Office or the Department of Innovation and Technology. So I see though that someone's saying that it may be AT&T that's building fiber, and that is to be expected. Since the city announced our intention to, lay fiber in equitable areas or areas that typically don't receive a lot of attention from private business. I think that's been like a clarion call for a lot of incumbents to, beef up their infrastructure. So it may be AT&T, but I can look into it. If you drop your email, I'll do some investigation and get it back to you.
And this is Quincy from Osborne Neighborhood Alliance. I do have a question around, just kind of follow up on a fiber optic piece. And I know that Joshua that was with the city has left. Just following up on that, that was a great initiative around the Hope, not the Hope, it was the
Hope Village?
Hope Village, yes. So just seeing where we at with that. And I know it was a pilot piece over in Hope Village, and what's the update? What's the update about that? And is that will that project expand across the city?
Thank you for that question, Quincy. Yeah, absolutely. Josh, if you haven't heard, but he's gone back home to Cleveland to run Digital C, which is a local nonprofit still in the digital inclusion space. He's still very much a friend to the city of Detroit. We wish him well. But yes, the city is still moving forward with our plans to install fiber in the Hope Village neighborhood. And then we're also looking at another pilot site on the east side of Detroit. I think, in true Detroit fashion, you can't do something for one side and not the other. So that is still in motion. As far as updates, a lot of it is still in City Hall, and it has to go in front of council and then be passed there before we can break ground. What you'll find is a lot of these like ARPA funded projects, a lot of it is dependent on, like I said, those city processes. So we're still very excited about, the fiber bill. We have until 2026 in order to, have it all built out. But we are definitely still here for the journey and for expanding it across the city of Detroit. Back to Jordan's earlier point about that FCC broadband map. The FCC is, if you're not familiar, they are issuing $65 billion worth of infrastructure money to the states, but there are some steps that have to happen where they're updating the maps that help determine that funding, and so there's a lot of discrepancies, as Jordan said, as to which areas have infrastructure, which areas do not, and then which areas are considered served based off of the speeds that are that residents are experiencing. And usually in times past, it's been on the onus of internet service providers to provide that information, but historically the level of service is overstated. So by participating in these advocacy efforts, as far as finding your address and verifying whether or not the information is correct, it really helps attract those resources to the city of Detroit. So we'll do more around communicating about the city's fiber plans, and then also a lot more advocacy work. Traditionally, metropolitan areas are disqualified from infrastructure funding because you typically have areas that have the infrastructure there. So whether it's cable lines or DSL, but what you usually don't see is the take rates increase because of affordability. So affordability is still a very big issue when it comes to internet adoption, but that is one criteria that is currently not included in the FCC formula for financial distribution. So we definitely have plans to raise our voice and let the FCC know that metropolitan areas should not be excluded from funding, and that affordability should absolutely be included. But that's a long way to say that we're still committed to our fight for equitable internet, as well as affordable internet and high-speed internet.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Phyllis, I see your hand is raised as well.
Yes, thank you. Quincy, you better raise your hand. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, we've been with the 313 since its inception. So we are a tech hub. Thank goodness for Fadia, who is our ambassador. We also have just been doing a lot of things. One of the things that I talked about, and I have to call Autumn because I talked with Josh at the 313 conference this year, was that we have installed solar Wi-Fi stations in green spaces so that people without homes or without electricity or without internet will have access to that. I've worked with Kenyatta Campbell at Cody Rouge, and so we have installed those stations additionally in Rouge Park and Stein Park, and also in it's a church over on this in 48235 Sinai Grace Gill. I work with Lisa Campbell to get one installed over there. I have to remember that. I can't remember the name of the park right at the moment. And also another one in 48206. And so it's imperative that as we go through, and I think Autumn, I was going to talk to you because the city was thinking about doing something similar. If it wasn't you, as your colleague was doing, who spoke at the event at the 313. I met Josh and he told me to talk to you or her. I don't have my notes before me, but anyway, to make sure that we have some of those throughout the city, because everybody doesn't have a home and everybody doesn't have access to Wi-Fi and internet, but we should be able to afford people who are homeless and who have just the government phones and nowhere to charge them opportunities to be connected.
Yeah, so we absolutely met at Digital Inclusion Week, and I shared that an idea had came through the committees to issue or to place Wi-Fi enabled benches across the city of Detroit. And it's so ironic that David Underwood actually reached out to the city today. He was doing additional research in order to see where, I believe there was a different project, and he wanted to just get more information. And so Art Thompson, our CIO, is going to get back with him with that information. But all that to say, like, we're still trying to, find out the feasibility of that project, of what the cost would be, who's already doing it, where the gaps are. So shout out to Devices and Connectivity for, really working that suggestion. And, I definitely believe that there are opportunities for collaboration and knowledge sharing. And I believe you and David Underwood had that conversation. So the city itself, at this current moment, at least from this office, we do not have intentions on placing benches. I believe there might have been some intention through the Department of Transportation. But as far as the city of Detroit, that is definitely something of importance to us. But we really want to empower the Devices and Connectivity Committee to continue on in their knowledge search, and then present a fully baked recommendation to Connect 313, Joint Assembly, or the board for investment.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is just put my information again, Autumn, in the chat for you. And
Okay.
if they want to, there's a team that I have that we work with that's really awesome, and it's real. Funding is not funding, but it's reasonable pricing to get it all put in. So I will put that in the chat, and if David wants to reach out, I'll be available for any assistance I can give anybody.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Amazing, thank you. Are there any other, things that folks would like to shout out? Or any questions for Connect Through and Three and or Autumn? And Autumn, thank you for answering all of the questions thus far.
Before I shut up for the rest of the community conversation, my feedback to our ecosystem is just letting you guys know how appreciative I am, the city of Detroit, Joshua, and the way that you guys show up for, Digital Inclusion Week, all of these calls, every other month we're doing something, sharing information, getting on these calls and sharing out your programs, being responsive to, inquiries around recommendations, and really like buying into our idea of a viable or operationalized public-private partnership. Like, I really hope that you all feel heard. And just looking at those annual review results really encouraged me to know that we're doing good work. And that even if we haven't been able to, fund everything or, have the best Digital Inclusion Week, like the fact that we're still moving forward and things haven't fallen apart is very encouraging, and letting you all know that you have the eye of the nation, right? As far as, people are looking to replicate what you all have built and what you all have bought in. So that's just my sentiment around, the annual review and our year in review. I know there have been a lot of changes as far as integrating design thinking into our committees, and then all of the work with getting these Dell computers to our tech hubs, and there was a delay there, but your patience and your unwavering support to putting Detroiters first, and really shifting the power dynamics is very encouraging. So just wanted to give my sentiments there.
Well, thank you, Autumn. I also wanted to add one of the points that we had talked about earlier today. If there are any things that people were really excited about for next year or really looking forward to, as we're doing our goal setting activities for next year, we really want to make sure that we are celebrating everything that we've done and accomplished together thus far this year. And if there's anything that people are really psyched about for next year, we want to hear it so that we can make sure that we are giving it the attention that it deserves. And I'll say, for one, that I'm excited about Digital Inclusion Week next year. I know I've mentioned it a couple of times on the call, and we've already had folks in the chat, saying, yeah, we should do something at our host site next year. So keep those ideas coming, please. Looks like Naima, your hand is raised.
Yeah, Jordan, I just wanted to underscore something that Autumn just said, which is the importance of the work that's happening here in Detroit. Detroit makes the news for a lot of other reasons. And one day, maybe, this will get a little bit more shine as far as the news is concerned. But I do want to lift up that Micah on our team shared this week that she received some recognition, naming the fact that other cities and other organizations in other municipalities are looking at the work that's being done here in Detroit as a model. And I just wanted to applaud those of you on the call and those who've been involved in this work much longer than I have, for what the foundation is that you have laid, how strong it is, how effective it is, and how far reaching the impacts of the work really is. And so just applause to everyone here and to the work that's being done, and to the work that will be done in the future. And it's evidenced, obviously, by what you just shared in the annual review, that as a collective impact initiative, we are getting some things right, and hopefully, that continues in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you, Naima. Phyllis, is your hand raised again, or was it raised from before?
From before, I just lowered it. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. And I see in the chat also some ideas around having, more community distribution of devices. That's definitely something that we are excited about for next year. We have a new policy that was just approved by the Joint Assembly to help us distribute devices a little bit more effectively. So we'll be working hard to put that, the actual implementation plan for that into place. And that will be another exciting thing for 2023. So thank you for that. Taquan, I see your hand is raised.
Hi, I just have to have my voice be heard. So hello everyone. Sorry, I'm late. My name is Taquan Brookins. I'm the outgoing chair of the Structure and Operations Committee, and have served on the chair or vice chair role since it was organized. And so this is my final meeting with you all. I won't be in this role or in a leadership role next year. And I just wanted to thank Connect 313, thank everyone from the community, my fellow committee members, and all of the amazing people that I got to work with over the past few years and get to know. This has been an incredible journey, a great professional development opportunity for me, but also just being able to share my passion for bridging the digital divide in our city, and have it have real impact has been just phenomenal. So I'm so appreciative of this effort. I wish all of the new leadership all the success, and am really, really excited about the grants that we've approved recently and starting to make more systemic change around this issue. But I will continue to be an advocate for Connect 313. I know that the world is watching us, and we are prepared to take on the challenge. So thank you all for your energy, for your expertise, and I will miss holding up meetings, talking a lot. So I'll go back on mute, but thank you.
Taquan, we will never get sick of you talking during meetings. So I will be roping you into just attending these at random, essentially, next year, because your voice is important and you are a great contribution to our work. And thank you for being our chair this year. I was the management lead for structure and operations. So Taquan was our chair and she just did a fantastic job. And I think that's a great transition into talking about this year's election for committee leadership, because we have a lot of new folks who have nominated themselves, which is really exciting to see that there's still like excitement and energy. We've been doing this for a couple of years of just, the work has been hard to really build something that is sustainable and that people are, excited about, especially from other communities that are hearing about like, oh, what is Detroit doing? That's cool. So we're really excited to have so many new folks kind of coming to the table who are interested in getting involved. So as we shared out last time, we did have the nominations form that we had a lot of folks signing up for, and now they are official candidates because the election is open. You actually should have received a text or email based on what you provided when you signed up as a Connect 313 member. So text or email or both from our election platform that is called Election Buddy. And you have your own ballot that is tied to your own voter key. So you can only vote once, depending on, you can either use the link on your phone or the link in your email, but it knows who you are and will not allow you to vote more than one time. And that platform allows us to have a really safe and secure and still confidential election where we won't know exactly who has said what, but we'll know if you voted or not because it's tied to your voter key. So that election actually runs from now through the end of the year. So the last day to vote is New Year's Eve, if you so desire, and there will be a couple of reminders coming out throughout the month to have folks participate in that election, and then the announcements will come out in January. So everyone who receives their election results and that candidate has been selected, we will reach out to those candidates and just confirm that is the position that they are accepting. And we will make sure that there's a chair and a vice chair for each committee. And then that information will become public in January prior to our first council meeting of the year. At which point, those newly elected committee leaders will be building their committee. So they will be using the roster of folks who have signed up as Connect 313 members, but we are also always looking for more Connect 313 members. So if any of you know of folks who might be interested in participating in the actual governance of Connect 313 next year and working on all of these different great ideas that are coming in, we are always looking for more members, especially those who want to sit on a committee. So we are always looking for that, and people can sign up for that directly on our website. So we will have an opportunity for any candidates to introduce themselves. Actually, I'm going to real quick just show what the ballot looks like in Election Buddy, just so everybody is aware and knows that it is real and not a weird spam text. This is a legitimate thing. So your ballot is going to look like this. You will see, each individual who is, an available selection for each one of the committees, and you will be able to select 2 people. You can also write in folks. And if you don't want to vote for a particular committee, you can abstain. You can click on the individual's profile for more information to find out, why should you vote for this person? So you'll be able to see a little bit more about each individual when you are making your decision. So you just select those candidates and then continue. It'll show a list of everybody that you have selected and you hit submit. It's super fast, super easy. You can do it on your phone or you can do it on a computer. It should work, well on both types of devices. And it's pretty straightforward. We just wanted to make sure that everybody had a chance to take a look at that before we introduce some of those candidates. I'll pause quickly while I'm pulling these slides back up to see if anybody has any questions. Okay. There we go. Okay, so we did invite all of our candidates to join today's call. So if you are running for one of the committee leadership positions, we invite you at this time to raise your hand. We can go ahead and call on you. And you can give a quick introduction, just say your name, which committee you are interested in leading, and one thing that you're excited about, for Connect 313. All right, I see Asia Browner. You can go ahead and unmute yourself, Asia.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Asia Browner. I'm a seasoned higher education professional who loves tech and STEM. For the last 10, maybe 15 years, I've worked with, hosted, trained, did everything you can imagine in the tech field. I work with various community partners, Ford, GM, Blue Cross, TD Ameritrade, just to name a few. And my goal was to get or introduce students in Metro Detroit to STEM, technology, and to show them all the things that you can do with tech. I want to help make changes for the people of Detroit. And
Awesome.
that's why I came to Connect 313 to see if I can help you with your goal as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And we are excited to have you as a candidate. Next, I see Dr. J.R. Sledge, which I will hand the mic over to you without any further comment so that I do not seem biased.
Thanks, Jordan. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm J.R. Sledge, and I have been a part of Connect 313 since its inception, and I have served diligently on the Structure and Operations Committee. under the leadership of Takoyan and before her, Margaret. And one of the things I think that I'm most passionate about as it relates to this committee work, I'll talk about that first before I talk about IT overall, is the fact that there's a need to sustain the great work that has already begun. And I think it's important to have continuity around some of the policies that we've already been able to put in place and to uplift and to share with all of the committees. And so I want to continue that work so we won't have any hiccups, any pauses, but that we have a very smooth transition of leadership as it relates to that particular committee. Some of the work that we do may not be as highlighted. It's more or less behind the scenes. It's kind of like the executive production of what happens throughout the organization and some of the committees. When you talk about, I think Jordan spoke to the annual review, we certainly have a voice in that, and we help to shape that. We help to gather information and make sure that that rolls out efficiently and accurately. We are a part of the setting up the protocols for vendors. Vendor policy, we're very involved in that. The scoring rubric, we're very involved in that, even from designing the rubric to executing it out. So all of that work is great work because it helps us to have, I'll pause here. One of the things I really appreciate about the committee is that we always look through the lens of grassroots and making sure that citizens are involved and not creating bureaucratic structure in the work that we do. And so that is something that really makes me happy because I know it comes from committee and then goes right to the citizens of Detroit who should have a voice, who do have a place in the IT space. And so I'm excited to continue that work. And I am running for the chair of the structure and operations.
Thank you, JR. Next up, we have Andrew Melton.
Hello, I'm Andrew Melton. I'm the new Executive Director of Joyce Southfield Community Development Corporation. I've also expressed an interest in the Structure and Operations Committee and also the Special Projects and Shared Resources Committee. I cited significant expertise in those respective areas. That expertise gained from running a CPA practice for almost 20 years, specializing in nonprofit organizations in the downtown Detroit, and the last 15 years as a nonprofit restructuring and artist, so to speak. I've had significant experience in the operational structure and special projects associated with running nonprofit organizations for my entire life. We had a family-based nonprofit down there on Michigan Avenue. We had a couple of buildings for many, many years. My mother founded it, and I was the vice president for many, many years. When I started this position last month, one of the first emails I received was Connect 313. And, over the last few years, when COVID came, I've been traveling around doing these consulting projects for nonprofits, typically in trouble. And so when COVID hit, I was in New York. And as soon as it let up, I came back to Detroit and made a conscious decision to stay my butt here and focus on helping the organizations in the city of Detroit. And particularly, I was extremely impressed with the mission of this organization as it relates to technology and technology of our people and technology related to the people in the city of Detroit. That is a major issue in all of my organizations, with getting them caught up to speed as it relates to keeping up with the technology. So I was extremely excited, and I immediately nominated myself. I didn't know there was such a thing. There was a thing. But I immediately did it, and I would just be honored to participate in any capacity in those two committees. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. And just a reminder for folks that even if you are not selected, you can always join that committee. And we will absolutely be looking for your participation in the committees and in subcommittees and in focus groups. There will be so many opportunities for folks to participate in 2023. Next up, I have Rich Ramirez.
Hello, everyone. Again, I'm Rich Ramirez. I am running for vice chair of the Policy Advocacy and Ecosystem Committee. So my role currently, I work for DTE. I head up innovation for the company, as well as what we call technology force for growth, or what you would call corporate social responsibility. And so I've been focused on getting technology and technologists out into the community for community benefit. I sit on kind of our involvement with FIRST Robotics in the state of Michigan, but also sit on a national perspective of trying to bring STEM and STEM awareness into students, and then figure out how we can amplify that here in Southeast Michigan and Greater Michigan. Additionally, I sit on the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation Board, their T3 innovation team, and trying to really figure out how to normalize and make more common competencies that are transferable between educational institutions, government institutions, as well as private nonprofit or privates and private organizations and nonprofits. So it's a more seamless way so people can get the skills as well as the jobs that are needed out in the community. Kind of nonprofit history in the background. I've been on, served on many nonprofit boards. Most recently, I'm the immediate past chair for the Greening of Detroit as well. I absolutely love getting involved in the community. My mom was a lifelong educator, and I just have a passion around technology and transformation. I do it as my day job, but always trying to look and figure out how to do it in the community. And so I've tried to figure out different ways to activate either working, DTE working with TechTown or DTE as we've did the laptop rollout. A lot of my team was helping orchestrate that in the background, or working with the faith-based community on developing different digital guides in which to help them during the pandemic, and doing some of the thought leadership behind the scenes as we began to lead and spearhead kind of the Detroit Means Business. So have a little bit of background in this space, you might say, but really excited that this is going on, and very happy that one of my colleagues or counterparts over at GM forwarded over to me that this opportunity might be in alignment with my interests and passions. So thanks for letting me speak today, and excited about the work y'all are doing.
Yeah, well, we're very excited to have you. Thank you for coming to today's meeting, introducing yourself. We are, very excited to have so many great new candidates on our list for today's election. I see Q Blackout. I think that might be AJ.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
Hello. Yeah, so my name's Alvin Lockett. I run RTCM Community Center. Our main program is Q Blackout, and I'm nominated for the devices and digital literacy. To keep it 100 with you all, the reason I want to do this because I love my city. I grew up in Detroit, and I'm an alumni of Mosaic Youth Theater in Detroit, but I was the kid behind the scenes, the tech crew. They got rid of the tech crew. I started Q Blackout for kids like me, and I really want to put on for my city. I really love Detroit, and for young people like me who grew up paying attention to Jay-Z, and that's their hero, I want to be in the voice in the room to speak to those people, because we don't always get that voice, or we always don't feel confident. So I want to be that example of you can be your unique self, and you can love tech and hip hop and all those things, and how they all come together. And my life mission is hope and access. If you believe in yourself, that's half the battle. And then once you get the access, sky's the limit. And digital literacy is, I'm a firm believer, is not rich or poor. I mean, it's not black or white, gay or straight, Jew or Gentile. It's rich and poor. And digital literacy can cut that. That is the great equalizer. So my goal is just to help my people and do better.
Awesome. Thank you, Alvin. I think that's very commendable, and that's what we're here to do here at Connect Through and 3. Next, I have Ron Norwood.
Hey, good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ronald Norwood. I'm currently serving as a community ambassador for Connect 313 Detroit. First and foremost, I would like to give a shout out to our new manager, Stephen Henry. We look forward to you taking the lead on our team, and I wanted to just personally say congratulations. My name is Ronald Norwood. I currently work for Detroit Employment Solutions Corporation. I was the former project manager for the Learn to Earn high school completion program, where in that instance, I was able to work with students during the pandemic and help them graduate and obtain a high school diploma online. And I obviously learned a lot about which computers were best when dealing with online work and which ones weren't. But I want y'all to just say a few things with me. Repeat after me. Say school.
School.
Banking.
Banking.
Transportation. Employment. Okay. And I'm really just trying to get you to understand that when we're talking about technology, it's not just being familiar with how to use those devices. We have real discriminatory issues here when we're talking about access. And as a workforce specialist and as a person that runs a youth program, we're talking about students. That's the difference between them being able to get into a job or apply for a college and not, right? And so my work, I've been doing this for now over 10 years. I originally got started working for Detroit's first cell phone startup through Techstars, which was Lunar Wireless. And I went into different homes and apartment complexes and the Detroit bus stop trying to get people to understand how to use their digital devices, meaning that they're not just cell phones and things that you should be using to call folks. You can do online banking if you don't have an ID, and that, it just removes a lot of barriers for people. So I've been in this game dealing with this for so long that I realized that even though it wasn't an original interest, it is now. And it's something that I want to continue with. I've also worked with Rocket Fiber Internet, which was Detroit's first internet-based startup company, which is now Snip Wireless. And so I've had experience not only working with adults and youth and trying to engage them and bridging that digital divide, but I also myself learned a lot. And I can also hook up internet. So if anybody having any issues, I can troubleshoot for you. So let me know. But again, I'm a youth ambassador, community ambassador, and this is now my second year. I'm within the District 2 of the city of Detroit, and I'm looking forward to seeing how I can continue with this movement. And, I'm hoping you guys support me with this. I need your vote. I'm gonna be the first to say, if nobody else do, please vote for me, Ronald Norwood. I'm running for committee chair. And again, I've been doing this work and I want to continue to do it because I realize the impacts it has on our society and city as a whole. And I want to make sure that Detroit stays at the forefront and leading that effort. So thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thanks, Ron. And now we have Phyllis Edwards.
Good afternoon and good everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to come before you at this time. I'm running for vice chair. I just want to be on the committee really for policy advocacy and the ecosystem. What I realized is that I've always known that there was a gap. I even had a gap in understanding technology as it currently exists. And I don't always think that I'm the only one in that line, but you ever got somewhere, said you were going to get up early one morning and be the first in line and get there and there's a line wrapped around the corner. Well, there's a line wrapped around the corner in our communities as it relates to technology. It became even more prevalent to me. I was the executive director for Bridging Communities until this year when I stepped down to become the development project consultant. But during COVID, the things that I noticed was that our seniors were disconnected from their doctors and our children were disconnected from their schools, and grandparents raising grandchildren didn't have the training to help their grandchildren with this online learning. Additionally, people were passing out technology tablets all over the place, but there was no training. And so my goal is to ensure that there's equity and inclusion in all of the policies, all of the outreach, and all of the work that we're doing to reach the people that need it the most in our communities. And so whether it's an 8-year-old child that needs connected to their school or to a homework who's living with their grandparents and their grandparents don't understand how to connect and can't connect or can't afford the Wi-Fi, ensuring that we have Wi-Fi in communities that people can have access to. As I said earlier, for those who were on the call, I've been the leader in getting community Wi-Fi installed in green spaces in some of communities and 4 communities in the city of Detroit, and looking forward to doing some more. So my goal is to just be a part of the policy, advocacy, and ecosystem committee. If I'm the vice chair, I'll be happy for that. But if not, I will be on the committee because, like I said, my thing is to ensure that all people in the communities, even those without homes, have access to Wi-Fi and technology and the resources that technology brings to everybody. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. We've had some people getting some shout outs in the chat. So that's all very exciting. And thank you to everyone who introduced themselves as a candidate on today's call. We are, again, really excited to have so many really highly qualified candidates in this year's election. And so just a reminder to everybody that you do have until the end of the month to cast your ballot, but like, you don't have to wait. It's very easy. It is literally one form where you just click on people's names, and you can literally do it via the text that we sent to your cell phone. So it is very straightforward. We do have more information about each candidate on that ballot. So we do recommend that you read through all of those candidate profiles, but it is very, very straightforward, and we're really excited to conclude that election season this year. With that, we will start wrapping up our meeting with just some upcoming dates and information for what we're going to be starting to do next year, because again, this is our very last Connect Urban 3 meeting of 2022. The year is almost over, and that's wild. So we will have a new and improved Connect Urban 3 timeline next year. Mostly focused around, kind of breaking things into quarters. So we are reducing the number of council meetings. This year, we had the council meeting every other month, kind of alternating with the community conversation. Next year, we are reworking kind of the community conversations to have more of that hybrid component. So we'll be reworking the community conversation schedule, and we are reducing the number of council meetings from 6 to 4. So they will just be meeting quarterly, and that means there's more time for the committees to really think through and prepare their recommendations. So that speaks to these elections. For everybody who is elected chair, you will have 4 council meetings to be preparing recommendations for instead of 6, which I think is for the best. So for everybody who is, excited about being a candidate or just sitting on one of these committees, we are giving you just like a little bit more time to work through some of the ideas that you are receiving, which I think will make everybody's life a little bit easier. And that'll also make it easier for folks who are applying for things as well. It'll just be like a little bit more clear next year how things are looking. Speaking of that, we are still always accepting suggestions. So there'll just be kind of blocks of time that the suggestions will be like bundled together for, but it is open at any time for you to submit a suggestion. So that could be any idea, like things that Phyllis was bringing up earlier around the charging stations in green spaces. It can be, a policy concern, like I think that we should be advocating for such and such specific change, whether that's at the municipal or the state level. We definitely want to hear those advocacy ideas. They could be events that are coming up or suggestions of spotlight organizations. We are really looking for all of your feedback throughout the year. So any ideas that you have for Connect Urban 3, we are open to hear them. We have a QR code up on the screen right now, or it's always open at our website. You can also always reach us at info@connecturban3.org with any kind of questions, concerns, comments, connections. If there are networking opportunities or events coming up that you want us to share out, we are always looking for those. Speaking of upcoming events, we actually have one of our fantastic partners, or one of our neighborhood tech hubs, Mac Development. They are having a community resource fair this Saturday. And you can see Connect Urban 3 on one of the logos on there. We're very excited. So a community resource fair happening out on the east side, where they're going to have all of these great resources just to spread the word throughout the community. So we look forward to seeing you there, and we recommend that you share this with your networks as well. And we will also attach this flyer to the follow-up email coming out of today's meeting. And with that, we are closing out actually on time today. If there are any other events or anything upcoming, please feel free to drop that in the chat or raise your hand, come off mute. We do always want to share out when there are fun, exciting things happening in the community. And once again, just want to express our appreciation for all of you for participating in Connect 3 all year long. This has been really a labor of love from so many different people, and we really appreciate your continued participation, your flexibility, your resilience as things have kind of changed and shifted throughout the year. We are just so appreciative and so thankful. And looking in the chat, oh, I see people already voting. Yes, voting completed. Very excited. That is so great to see. I see a couple of events happening as well. A grant opportunity, that is always very exciting. Definitely something for folks to grab, and we love to see it. That's another thing that we are always also looking for at info@Connect 3. If you see any grant opportunities that you think Connect 3 should go after, or that you would like to partner with Connect 3 to go after, absolutely send them our way. We love that. And again, there will be so many different opportunities for folks to really lean in and participate next year, whether that is sitting on a committee or joining the subcommittees or helping with planning for Digital Inclusion Week. All of those things matter so much to us and to the city of Detroit. This is really impacting the lives of real people, and that is so important for us to remember and center ourselves around. So with that, thank you so much for all of your participation and for your time today. And we will go ahead and close out.